Here we are, everyone. It's Thursday, the 20th of June, and it feels like things have kicked off a little bit in the transfer window, doesn't it, for the EPL Index Transfer Daily? Because probably the big Ornstein bomb last night that came, Aston Villa have agreed a fee with Chelsea, not for Juan Duran, as he's been locked in talks with, amongst other strikers, but for Ian Maatsen, the Dutch left-back, left wing-back, been on loan at Dortmund this season, hadn't he? Got to the Champions League final, been really shining there. Full expectation, I think, for people, he will go there. But Aston Villa, in their discussions with Chelsea, have agreed a fee. And people might think it might have been Conor Gallagher because they had sensitive talks over that as well. Very strange in one way, but potentially a brilliant move, I think, for Aston Villa. But a fee of $37.5 million has been agreed, according to David Ornstein. It's now a case of, can they get him to agree the wage packet and move to Villa Park? And he also mentioned in the article that the other deals that are talking through, like the players we mentioned, are separate to that. In other news, Lazio have opened talks according to the Mail for Mason Greenwood, over a £30 million move for the Manchester United forward, and there's a lot of interest from abroad. As the Independent also says, you've got Juventus and Napoli interested in that one. The football transfers has got a few big moves coming on that Arsenal are looking to make a cash plus player offer for Bruno Guimaraes, the Newcastle. So that'll be interesting because everyone knows about the clause, but the suggestion that a cash plus player, maybe with FFP and everything looming, might suit Newcastle more, who knows. The same site's also got the Liverpool are now in the mix for Michael Elise and are trying to beat Chelsea and Manchester United to his deal, although quite a few outlets had yesterday that Chelsea have made an offer to him, an increased sort of salary offer to try and beat competition that way. So it will be very interesting to see what happens there. Maybe jumping back to Aston Villa, a lot of talk still around Douglas Luiz and that transfer to Juventus, that it's still on. They're trying to get the deal done between them, but a deal that suits all parties. Weston McKennie, according to reports, the USA midfielder, is out that deal, that he is not part of it. Football Insider's even got that Spurs have moved ahead of Villa in the race to get him, but there's a lot of suggestions that he is not part of that, and another player may have to be included by Juventus. And as Gazzetta dello Sport in Italia say, that move is close. Samuel Illing Jr., the young English winger, will be moving to Villa Park as part of that. It's all about who's the other player. And also at Aston Villa, we mentioned the other day about AC Milan being interested in Matty Cash. Sky Sports Italia is saying that Inter Milan are also considering him because they expect Denzel Dumfries to be leaving. So Matty Cash might have his pick of the Milan clubs. It seems a lot happening at Aston Villa. One player that looks like he will not be coming to England, though, is Nico Williams, because according to HITC, he is holding out for a move to Barcelona and a Spanish club that will thwart the attempts of, as they say, Villa, Arsenal, Liverpool, and Newcastle United there. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that one. We mentioned about Chelsea's forward search yesterday, didn't we? Amor Dion and Juan Duran were the ones that have been linked to the ones they've made moves for, as according to reports we know about. They had a bid rejected for the Atletico Madrid forward, and they had a bid pretty much accepted, as Matt Law said. They were negotiating the whole package around it for Duran. As for Fabrizio Romano and a few others, it's important to say, I've mentioned that only one of those will be going to Chelsea. So they are looking at all their options. Manchester United news. Jonathan David, the Lille striker, very much features in a number of reports. So GFFN, Get French Football News, mentioned that he is high and they're stepping up their search. He's high on United's wish list for a striker. In terms of a player that won't be coming to United, Fabrizio Romano mentioned that, unfortunately, Jean-Claire Todibo will not be making that move because of the UEFA rules over multi-club ownership has thwarted that option. United, apparently, according to the MEN, the local Manchester Evening News, do not see agreeing a new deal with Bruno Fernandes as a priority, interestingly enough. And according to Athletic, Amrabat didn't have the best of times at United last season, not that many did, but has told Fiorentina he does not want to return to them. But whether United want to make that a permanent move, we will have to see. In other Premier League news, Leicester, according to the Telegraph yesterday, are close to appointing Steve Cooper. Like it was going to be Graham Potter, didn't it? But it looks like it will be Steve Cooper. West Ham, according to ESPN, face a battle for Mohamed Kudus. Maybe not from the clubs expected. There's Saudi interest from Al Ittihad specifically in the 23-year-old winger. So it'll be interested to see what happens with him. Bayern Munich apparently have made Xabi Simons their top transfer priority, the young attacking midfielder. He was on loan at Red Bull Leipzig, so a very good season in the Bundesliga. He's a PSG player specifically. So talk around 100 million euros to get that done, which seems absolutely crazy, doesn't it? But we'll have to see. Brighton are set to block Dennis Undaff's attempt to move permanently to Stuttgart, which feels a shame for him, but it's smart business at the same time. Did very well there. Stuttgart qualified for the Champions League, finished second in the Bundesliga, but they will use their clause to make sure that does not come permanently. And at the same time, for other teams, that there's quite a few teams keen on Roma's Eduardo Bove. Never come across the player, 22-year-old Italian midfielder, but Leicester, Fulham, Everton, and Bournemouth are interested, according to HITC, in the young midfielder. So there we have it, ladies and gents. Thursday, the 20th of June. A lot going on, a lot to talk about. We will see what happens with Villa and Chelsea over Maxson. We'll see what happens with Villa over David Luiz. We'll see what happens with Matty Cash. We will see Chelsea. We'll see many, many things. It looks like the window is really starting to ramp up for many clubs. And on Thursday, the 20th of June, that was your EPL Index Transfer Daily.